Is Roblox VR an actually good VR experience? That's what I really set out to figure out this past week. And what I found was that it's but to get more into it, there is a lot of issues with this. Starting, of course, with how do you even do it? How do you even do these games in VR? It's a little bit of a confusing setup, but once you get used to it, like once you do it for the first time, it's very obvious and easy from there. And so I can see why there's probably dozens of videos on how to play Roblox in VR. So there's that issue, of course, but there has to be some kind of good VR experience here in Roblox, right? I've seen people celebrate Roblox as this treasure trove of free VR games or whatever like that. So I wanted to find them myself. So I just typed in VR and went looking and stuff like that. The first one that I found was VR Hands. I had heard that it was a good one, so I wanted to try it. But of course, it wasn't really that great. It was just random items all over the place. Some random obstacles that people that don't have VR can use or play on or whatever, that people in VR can help them cross and things like that. Like I can put my hand down and lift you up to the next part of the course, but that's weird too because you can just grab people. So in theory, you should just be able to grab them and then put them to the end of the course. So it kind of defeats the part. It defeats itself, really, is what I'm saying here. So it wasn't really that great. Not to mention that there was a lot of things that pop in and out. Like once you're so far away from something, it just stops existing, and that really ruined the experience because there's a section in this map where there's like this boat and you can drive this sailboat, but you have to do it from a distance for some weird reason. And so once you get to where the actual steering wheel or whatever you want to call it is, you can't even see the ship anymore. So you're controlling it, but you can't see what you're doing. So there's all kinds of issues with that map itself. And this little popping in and out issue, this render distance issue, if you will, really just carried over to every single map that I tried. Every single map had some sort of render distance that didn't feel that big. I ended up trying a different VR Hands one. This one was very different. It didn't seem to have any obstacles for people outside of VR to try, or at least I didn't see them or notice them. But there was a lot of random items that you can interact with, pick up and interact with, and I can see why people could have a lot of fun with that. But again, it was super janky and super buggy, so I wanted to find something that's a little bit more unique and a little bit more interesting. So, of course, I exited that. Now, keep in mind, this whole time I've been stuck with snap turning because I haven't figured out how to get smooth turning on. Eventually, I did find this smooth turning option, but I guess it's something that the developers of each map have to work on or something, because it only worked. The smooth turning only worked on one single map in the entire selection of maps here I did like 10 to 12 maps here. It only worked on one of the maps. Every other one, even if it was enabled, it would still just have snap turning, which was very annoying. I guess like the option is there no matter what, because I guess it's like more of a VR setting, but I guess each individual map has to be enabled on for like when the people are making it or something. I don't know, it's confusing. But I ended up finding this Bone Lab ripoff map, which I thought was kind of funny. So I wanted to see what it was like. So I joined it. I think it said it was VR exclusive as well. So I went up onto it, and it was kind of interesting, I guess. I mean, the whole thing about it was that it was kind of more of just like a shooting range, basically. And they had this convoluted setup on how you got guns. This thing in front of you that doesn't look like a button was a button after all, and you press it and it spawns a random weapon. It took me a minute to figure that out because it didn't look like a button. It just looked like some kind of canister. I was trying to shoot it with a pistol that I found using a key that I found in a totally random spot somewhere. Like I found a key and I was like, oh, this goes to the safe. There was so many weird, convoluted ways to get guns in this that it was really weird, and it was a little bit of annoying. But the gunplay itself wasn't too bad, I guess. It had a balloon gun as well, which I thought was interesting. It didn't seem to work on the like NPCs or whatever you want to call them, but it was there. It was interesting to say the least, but it wasn't really that great. But it did make me wonder if like the VR exclusive games was the key to finding these good VR ones, because this wasn't too bad. I mean, the controls were a little bit weird and all that other stuff, but it had potential, right? But anyway, I ended up trying this arcade map, which was basically like Dave & Buster's or like Chuck E. Cheese or whatever like that. It had a bunch of different like little arcade machines, or like, you know, those kinds of machines you'd find in like Dave & Buster's or Chuck E. Cheese, right? That wasn't very great. It wasn't super clear on what you were supposed to do with each individual machine. And then, of course, it just felt like a ripoff every single time. Then I saw this laser tag map, this laser tag one that I thought was going to be awesome. I didn't even get to try it properly though because I didn't have anyone to play with. So I couldn't just hop into a match and start playing or whatever like that because I didn't have anyone to play with. I didn't have opponents to go against or friends to partner up with or anything like that. So I was kind of just stuck with like the main menus and like the little lobby area or whatever like that. I didn't even get to shoot a gun. Also, it had this weird feet thing where you had to like match your feet to where the feet were in the game world. So you had to stand in a weird spot for it to like work properly or whatever like that. But this didn't work at all because it was always on the edge of my boundary, like my guardian or whatever. Even though I recentered it several times, like no matter how I recentered it, it would just always not be perfect. Like I would always be standing almost outside of my boundary, so that wasn't very great. Then somehow I accidentally went to another arcade area via this laser tag map. Like I was in this laser tag map and I must have clicked something or done something without realizing it, but I suddenly was transported to this arcade map with actual arcade machines, and that seemed to be about it that was there. I couldn't interact with any of the arcade machines. It kept saying like tap to interact with or like press to interact with, and I was pressing everything and doing everything and nothing was working for some reason, so I just decided that I would quit that. But back to some more issues that were more generalized to the overall experience. The menus were super hard to interact with. When they weren't super hard to interact with, you were interacting with them all the time because you were accidentally pressing buttons on the menus and things like that. To sum it up, really, the menu is basically always in the way. You can press this little double arrow thing and it will kind of go lower on your view or whatever like that. But even then, you're accidentally pressing it all the time. So if anyone knows how to get rid of this menu or like hide it in a different way, or if that is even possible, please let me know, because this really ruined the experience a lot of the times because I would accidentally press it and like either open up like the chat log or accidentally open up the main menu and have like all these like options to like exit the game and all this other stuff. So it was annoying to say the least. But again, that Roblox map with the Bone Lab one wasn't really too bad. I mean, again, I think the VR exclusive was the way to go, so I went at it some more, hunting down these exclusive ones. I found one that cost money to play, so I unfortunately had to skip it. But I then ran across this cave exploration one. I thought it would be super interesting, so I jumped into that, and it was not that great. It was very janky. It had like this weird physics to it that like, I guess they were trying to make it more physics-based or something, but it kind of didn't really work because the physics didn't work how you would expect physics to work. But the inventory especially like was like super messed up and like broken. Like you put the bucket over your shoulder to like equip it, I guess, or something. I assumed that's how you were supposed to do it because that's how I did it with the backpack. And then the bucket just like appears on your side and it just stays there all the time, and you can accidentally slap it with your hand and stuff like that. It's in the way, basically, is what I'm saying. There's a reason why in these VR games, when you put something in your inventory, it's gone. You can't just accidentally slap it. You have to like physically reach over there and grab it to actually do it, right? But whatever. Also, you can like spawn in torches and stuff like that in that map as well by reaching over your shoulder and grabbing, but that was super inconsistent because for some reason that didn't always pull out a torch. Sometimes it pulled out nothing, so I don't know why that was the case either. But this thing like actually ended up being extremely scary for some reason. I don't know what it was about it, but having these hands stretch out of the ground and just grab my arms and stuff like that freaked me out like a lot. It freaked me out a ton. I don't know why it terrified me so much. Do I just climb out of here? What's happening? Oh my god, what the fuck? What the hell is that? What the shit? What the fuck? Nah, man. Ah, stop! What the fuck are you? What is this? What the hell? No, get me out of here, please. Get me the fuck out of here. This is fucking scary, bro. I think the vibrations on the controllers, because the controllers vibrated whenever that happened, I think that helped with the scare factor of that. So if you're looking for a scary experience, I guess I could recommend that to you. That was honestly one of the best ones that I did. But again, it had all those issues that I mentioned a minute ago where it's super janky, super broken, like the physics aren't quite right. The climbing is super difficult because it doesn't work the way you expect it to. Just stuff like that. Now, another VR exclusive one was some kind of wave survival multi-minigame thing. It was called Clashers VR, and I thought this one wasn't too bad either. It was one of the best ones I played, honestly. But it felt like some kind of VR demo, if that even makes any sense. Like, it felt like some kind of demo that you would just have on preloaded on your headset or something like that. Almost like the like when you go to Airlink and you go to the home in the Airlink or whatever like that, and there's like that little lobby area there. It's kind of like that, but even less soul to it. Anyway, the combat to it wasn't very interesting, and that was kind of its main thing because it was a wave survival thing, right? The combat wasn't that interesting. You could literally just swat your hands around, and it would just kill everything that you touch. It wasn't that great. The enemies glitched a lot as well. They would phase through stuff. They would face the wrong direction for some reason, which I thought was hilarious. And it was super easy too. Like, again, because like I said, you could just slap your arms around all silly like you're playing Beat Saber or something, and it just kills everything that it touches. So it wasn't that great in that regard either. But there's so many other bugs and issues with these games in general. What I've learned from this experience, what I learned through all of this, is that regardless if I was playing a VR map or not, it felt like I was still playing some kind of Roblox map. It always felt like Roblox, even when I was playing these VR stuff. So I don't know if that's a good thing. Maybe if you enjoy Roblox, maybe that is a good thing to you. I don't know. I guess it just depends on how much you like Roblox. But as I said, there's so many bugs and issues with these games that it can really, really ruin the experience and stuff like that, right? And then again, at the end of the day, really, does it really matter? I mean, I'm not really that disappointed overall. I didn't expect anything super mind-blowing or anything like that. And these are still just free experiences. And I think this VR stuff is still a little bit more new to the Roblox genre here. So, and again, there is still dozens and dozens of these VR experiences here in Roblox. So maybe I just got unlucky and missed the good ones, right? So if you want to try it for yourself, maybe you can find some VR games worth your time here in Roblox. But until then, I think I'm going to put away Roblox for a while because it's not really offering too much for me at the moment. Maybe I can try it again at some point for like a stream or something like that. Maybe that could be fun. But for now, I am just going to put Roblox to rest here for now. And yeah, hope you guys enjoyed this video, this little look at some Roblox VR games. Again, this was just my personal experiences with this. You may find these games that I mentioned way more fun, but to me, they were either soulless or just boring. But yeah, hope you guys enjoyed this video regardless. If you did, I would very much appreciate a like, a subscribe, or some kind of share on this video, maybe even a comment or two, because that would really, really, really help out the channel a ton. And until next time, I guess, just remember to stay asleep.